In this video essay, I will be discussing the use of computer-generated images in film and how they relate to real images by matching lighting and using reflections. I will be also analysing other types of effects used in films, and I will be comparing these to computer-generated imagery to see the differences. CGI, or computer-generated images, are images that can be still or animated for purposes such as art, film, game, and many more. Created from software such as Maya, After Effects, Houdini, and ZBrush, it is specifically designed to help produce 3D images. When adding these images to live action, they will need to be added in post-production to match up with the scene. They will be added in layers so they can be easily edited and made to look realistic by adding more depth. These images can be anything from a single scene to a whole production. When adding CG images to live action footage, the movement in camera should be tracked so the image matches up with the shot. In films such as Beowulf, they create the characters by getting the actors to wear motion capture suits, which are then covered in small balls and catch the tiniest of movements made by the actors. This is then interpreted by the computer and made into a basic rendering, then to be edited into the character. Pre-CGI, there was practical effects, which involved using real objects and materials to make sets of miniature models. As well as these effects, there are many more, such as matte paintings, pyrotechnics, and prosthetics. It may take longer to produce a practical effect, as a lot of preparation and staff go into planning and creating them. It's completely possible to make a film wholly with practical effects, and if achieved, then less editing would be needed, as it would be already matching up with the lighting in the background. More and more directors use CGI to help them tell their stories. Sometimes having the opportunity to create a whole world from computers can tell a different story than being made practically. Some filmmakers will choose to use CGI as this enables them to create whole worlds or scenes that wouldn't have been possible without them. An example of good CGI is in the street in Avengers. What I thought was real was actually digitally and painstakingly created in detail. In District 9, they used motion capture to create the character's movements, then digitally put him into the scene and added details such as shadows, light, and even slight reflections into the character's eyes to make him more realistic. The background in Green Lantern looks completely separate from the actors, and the lighting does not match up. It looks unnatural, so therefore does not work together. In the Matrix Reloaded fight scene, the CG characters move and bend in an elastic manner, which makes them look unusual. Their faces also look too different from their actors' faces and make them look like they are from a game instead. The Scorpion King is another one that shows the face does not look quite right, as the light looks artificial compared to the light on the live action actors. Also, there isn't much detail in the characters as there could be, which adds to the oddity. I have chosen to compare the effects in the original and remake of Total Recall. The original had a range of practical effects from miniature models to squibs and prosthetics, to name a few. It did have a few CGI effects, which wasn't too bad for 1990. The remake, made in 2012, is mostly based on CGI that is used on their backgrounds, spaceships and explosions. The CG is really good, but overall I prefer the original with its practicality. I think that special effects, whether it be practical or computer generated, has come a long way over the years. CG tends to look a bit dated as the years pass, and we have new software to make better and better CGI. Whereas a lot of the older practical effects have lasted and most look still great today as it did when it was made.